Good evening, students. I hope you enjoyed chapter 7 and 8 today of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And now we are going to begin chapter 9. And depending on how long it takes, we might go ahead and read chapter 10 right after chapter 9. And Wyatt has been enjoying this from home because he doesn't have school either. He's my 5-year-old who goes to St. Henry in kindergarten. And he's been listening to the story and watching the movie. He wants to say hello.
Hi.
Say hi, right?
Hi.
Okay, so here we go. Chapter 9. Grandpa Joe takes a gamble. The next day, when Charlie came home from school and went to see his grandparents, he found that only Grandpa Joe was awake. The other 3 were all snoring loudly. "Shh," whispered Grandpa Joe, and he beckoned Charlie to come closer. Charlie tiptoed over and stood beside the bed. The old man gave Charlie a sly grin, and then he started rummaging under his pillow with one hand. When the hand came out again, there was an ancient, and that means very old, leather purse clutched in his fingers. Under cover of the bedclothes, the old man opened the purse and tipped it upside down. Out fell a single silver 10-cent piece. "It's my secret hoard," he whispered. "The others don't know that I've got it. And now you and I are going to have one more fling at finding the last ticket. How about it, eh? But you'll have to help me." "Are you sure you want to spend your money on that, Grandpa?" Charlie whispered. "Of course I'm sure," spluttered the old man excitedly. "Don't stand there arguing. I'm just as crazy as you are to find that ticket. Here, take the money and run down the street to the nearest store. Buy the first Wonka candy bar you see and bring it straight back to me and we'll open it together." Charlie took the little silver coin and slipped quickly out of the room. In 5 minutes, he was back. "Have you got it?" whispered Grandpa Joe, his eyes shining with excitement. Charlie nodded and held out the bar of candy. "Wonka's Nutty Crunch Surprise," it said on the wrapper. "Good," the old man whispered, sitting up in the bed and rubbing his hands. "Now, come over here. Sit close to me and we'll open it together. Are you ready?" "Yes," Charlie said, "I'm ready." "All right." "You tear off the first bit." "No," Charlie said, "you paid for it. You do it all." The old man's fingers were trembling, that means shaking, most terribly as they fumbled with the candy bar. "We don't have a hope, really," he whispered, giggling a bit. Sit up, Wyatt. Sorry. "You do know we don't have a hope, don't you?" "Yes," Charlie said, "I know that." They looked at each other and both started giggling nervously. "Mind you," said Grandpa Joe, "there's just that tiny chance that it might be the one. Don't you agree?" "Yes," Charlie said, "of course. Why don't you open it, Grandpa?" "All in good time, my boy, all in good time." "Which end do you think I ought to open first?" "That corner, the one furthest from you. Just tear off a tiny bit, but not quite enough for us to see anything." "Like that," said the old man. "Yes, now a little bit more." "You finish it," said Grandpa Joe. "I'm too nervous." "No, Grandpa, you must do it yourself." "Very well then, here goes." He tore off the wrapper and they both stared at what lay underneath. It was a bar of candy, nothing more. All at once, they both saw the funny side of the whole thing and they burst into peals of laughter. "What the heck's going on?" cried Grandma Josephine, waking up suddenly. "Nothing," said Grandpa Joe. "You go back to sleep." Okay, chapter 10 is called The Family Begins to Starve. Do you know what it means to starve?
Yes.
What's it mean, Wyatt?
It means like somebody's poor and they don't have any food.
Yeah, and they're going to starve. So my questions...
Some people might die.
Well, we're not going to go on to chapter 10 because it's a little longer than I thought. So question number 1 is, why did Grandpa and Charlie burst out laughing? And we just saw the image of them in the illustrations when they were laughing. Why did they burst out laughing? And another question, I don't have a question, but in first grade, you must learn to ask and answer questions about the story. So I've been asking an awful lot of questions on these YouTube videos. Here they are bursting out laughing. So why did they burst out laughing? I want you to ask me a question. So I want you to think about this last chapter, which was titled Grandpa Joe Takes a Gamble. And I want you to post a question for me in the comments on this video. I thought that would be fun. Remember, a question starts with question words. Who, what, when, where, why, how, did, is, are. So ask me a question in the comments and I will answer your questions as I see them. Do not go too far in the movie, and make sure you're washing your hands, taking care of one another, and being big helps for your family right now during this difficult time. I miss you and I love you all, and I hope to see you soon. Take care.